What's up, everyone? Trent here, and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Spider-Man No Way Home. And if I could sum up this movie in one word, it's just wow. It is so fun. It was amazing. The character moments, the action, the fan service, it just delivered on so many different levels, and it really stepped up the game from what we saw in Homecoming and Far From Home. This just brought another level, and John Watts did such a good job of directing a huge cast of characters. Like, it is an arduous task and a chore to balance having so many character interactions and making sure each actor gets time to shine, while also delivering emotional character beats, dynamic action, and just doing such a good job in delivering all those moments and keeping the movie pacing and going along nicely without it feeling like it's dragging or sacrificing quality for quantity. He did a great job. And in saying that, I think he got some of the best performances out of any of the actors' careers. Like, Tom Holland stepped up his game so much as Peter Parker and Spidey in this. We saw a wide range of emotions that we hadn't seen before. He was able to easily turn from happy-go-lucky with quips to sad and angry. We got such a big range, and every scene that he was in, you really felt what he was feeling in those moments. It was really good to see him challenged in these ways. And in terms of the other cast, Zendaya was an excellent counterbalance for Peter again. We've seen more range and more of their relationship building throughout this movie as well, which is excellent to see. But I think where we really shone was some of the characters and villains that we'd seen in the previous iterations of the Spidey movies, and that was Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe. They just stole every scene they were in, and they are just such talented actors that's to be expected. But I just wasn't expecting it to be that captivating and just really lift everyone up that was in any scene that they were with. And there was some much needed character development, like Jamie Foxx's Electro. He was really well done in this as Max Dillon, and there was a little bit more depth and exploration of his motivations in this. But yeah, the characters and the character interactions, Marissa Tomei was fantastic as Aunt May. Like, she got some time to shine in this, and every line she had, she was really using that time well to deliver some really important and moments that we hadn't really seen before in Peter and Aunt May's relationship in this franchise so far. So the character moments and just the performances were absolutely excellent. And I also think with the character moments that this has really made Spider-Man feel like the most Spidey he's been in the MCU. Like, there's been a lot of criticism about Homecoming and Far From Home that I think anyone who's had criticism, that will be pushed to the side big time in this movie. It feels like Spider-Man. He is the everyman. We see that in this. We see how much he cares. We see that it's not just about big blockbuster spectacle and action. It's about the character moments. And I think that really shines through. And there are elements that have been missing in the MCU that this movie really delivers on. And I think everyone's going to walk out happy seeing what has transpired here, and it's going to feel like Peter Parker with an MCU vibe still, but I really think this is Peter Parker on the big screen, and Tom Holland did such a good job portraying it, as well as every other character that helped in that matter. Now, in terms of the plot, it is a nearly 2.5 hour movie, and it doesn't drag at any point. The first half of the movie does such a good job setting up the main conflict, the main issues, while also dealing with the ramifications of the previous issues. But it doesn't feel like it dwells too much on any particular moment. The pacing is done really well. But as soon as it hits the halfway point, boom, it's such a pacing change, but it doesn't feel jarring. It feels like a natural progression. You also feel a lot of tension as well because of the setup that's happened in the first half of the movie. And that tension is broken up nicely with humor and quips and fan service, but as soon as that plot change happens, you start to think, oh God, literally anything can happen at this point. And it's done really well to utilize the time nicely, and that's perfectly balanced by the music and composition and the visuals. Like when Peter is web slinging through the city, we get some awesome visuals, almost first person perspective. It shows a lot of franticness and a lot of emotion just in the visuals alone. And it's something that we actually haven't seen since really The Amazing Spider-Man, when we got some really awesome first person web slinging. It was good to see some of that, camera technology utilized in this. And actually there was a lot of visuals that you could really say were attributed to Into the Spider-Verse. Like there were a lot of scenes that I thought, oh wow, they've gone for camera angles and those sorts of scenes from Into the Spider-Verse. And I mean, that is the best Spider-Man movie. And it's good to see that have an influence on this movie in terms of the visuals. So really good to see that. The music, the themes for each character worked so well. Like, I really enjoyed Doctor Strange's theme in this. It fitted. It fitted really well with how Peter would see Doctor Strange. And yeah, it was really well done. And I think the fan service, no one's going to walk out not smiling. Now, in terms of criticism, the only real criticism that I have, because I love the movie so much, was that some of the humor didn't land. And at times I thought the Ned, MJ and Peter dynamic overshadowed what was actually happening in the scene. Sometimes less is more in that regard. And yeah, but they did manage to pull that back as the movie progressed, so that was actually turned into a pro. And while the CG in this was 99% freaking phenomenal, like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man's powers being displayed and all the fight scenes, freaking amazing. Like, that's never in question. But there were some shortcuts that were taken that I'm not a big fan of, that Hollywood's doing, especially in movies like Venom and Wonder Woman 1984, where they're using darkness to hide CGI and CGI characters, or have, fights in darkness. And there are a couple of moments in this where that sort of darkness was used to hide some CGI that actually did a detriment to the scene. But when you have other things like Infinity War and Endgame, where you've got Thanos who's looking freaking amazing in fully lit scenes, it feels like a little bit of a cop-out. Overall, fantastic movie, great CG overall, awesome character work, such a great conclusion to this trilogy, and fan service galore. You'll walk out with a huge smile. I know I did. I'm going to go see it again this weekend. Hopefully you do too. But yeah, I can't wait to get into some sort of a spoiler discussion with people soon. Anyway, tell us your thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home in the comments below. And as always, keep it nerdy.